Life experiences. How did we get here? What are we doing with our life? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Conrad Schubach here.
Dylan Wilson.
Hilton Kill.
Jorge Abad.
Dagan.
And Dagan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome.
Would you do us the honors of introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about us.
I always like to just say my first name and not my last name, which throws people off sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, it's like Beyonce. It's just Dagan. I'm the only Dagan you're going to meet, so my last name's irrelevant.
As long as you don't call yourself the Dagan.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
I had someone call me the Daganator. I was like, oh, that sounds like from some Saturday Night Live skit or something from back in the day. But yeah, man, so the day job is the fun, exciting world of insurance, but I'm also a published author and do some speaking and come from 10 years working in the alcohol industry, which seems relevant for this table here.
Convenience.
Started off as a beer and a beer rep, and then moved into liquor and became where I worked for many years in the alcohol industry, peddling beer. So, when you go to an event and you see the Budweiser girls or someone handing out free stuff, there's usually some person that's kind of overseeing that whole event, probably hanging out near the bar. That was me. So did that for many a year. It's good times.
Was that with Budweiser that you specifically
No,
did?
so when I first started in the beer world, I was at the Coors Light distributor. So I had all the Mexican beers, and then Shiner Bock, Coors Light, Guinness, Bass, and a bunch of other beers. And then moved into working for Brown-Forman brands. So I had Jack Daniels, Woodford, and a bunch of other products. And
Liquors.
a lot of that helped me with writing my book, because the book was all about how to promote yourself without selling. And in the alcohol world, we didn't go around and sell alcohol. Right? The bartenders sell alcohol. The liquor stores sell alcohol. We're there to promote and put an image on it and promote ourselves so that people go and buy our product. And, of course, people were always like, well, does Jack Daniels really need help selling? Doesn't it kind of sell? And I'm like, no, it needs selling. And in that day, the Maker's Mark had come out. And, of course, Crown was already around. And so you got a lot of people drinking whatever's trendy, so we're all fighting to get market share. But we're not selling. We're promoting.
Interesting.
Well, these guys are laughing. Now I'm going to put the camera over here. So they are laughing because it's like, hey, guys, not beer, liquor. Because you told me on a text message that...
We are vetting you,
Because you told me on a text message that would be like, more, getting started about your experience of the liquor. And we're like, no beer, guys, liquor. And then and then come and say beer first time, and they are just like, okay, shut up then.
And he was like so bad. He was like,
So
That's interesting.
yeah.
say it again. Just I'm not sure if I listened that way, but tell that to him.
Yeah. One of the funniest things that came about working in the bars and clubs every night, 5 nights a week for years on end, is there was this running joke, and I didn't even realize this, but some of my friends were like, man, Dagan is the best wingman, because if you want to go talk to a girl in the bar, you just tell him which girl you want to talk to, and he'll like look at what she's ordering, what she's drinking, how she's doing things, and he'll just dissect the situation and give you all this great feedback so that you know how to approach her. And they wouldn't just tell me that. I didn't even know I was doing that, but I would be like, no, dude, you can't go talk to that girl, because if you go with your game that you've got, you're going to fail. And so I would help them. And they started telling each other that I would do that. And it started becoming this thing where Dagan can tell everything about a girl by what she drinks. And then, of course, guys like to then test it out and stuff like that. And so they would,
Because we're scientists.
test me out. Yeah.
We're scientists
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you're trying to figure out how to communicate to the girls. Guys don't need help communicating to other guys. It's like just talk about sports or
Was that Will Smith's
Cigar.
movie based on you?
In the name
Maybe?
of science.
Yeah.
so many of those movies and that movie She's Not That Into You. There was a lot of those movies
Yeah,
that I'm like, oh my
yeah.
god, they stole our book, our
Yeah.
guidebook.
True. Good reference there too.
Yeah.
Da-
Classic.
D. Dagan.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Matchmaker.
So now we have to get another podcast prepped so that we do specifically about how to get girls based on the drinks that they're drinking. And then we also do our homework and we try and tell what that is, and then you say if you're right or wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would, unfortunately, people would, I even had someone dare me in front of two ladies to do that. And I'm like, look, like, do we have time for a quick story?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's why you're here, man.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
That's what you're here for. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So-
before-
so-
Well,
The review.
we can do the review now, and then you come and
Because of
tell
the-
the story.
because-
No. Let's do the review.
because of
Okay.
cigar time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to hear about, I want to know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like just, we reviewing cigars is just like reviewing liquor or wine. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Kind
Let's
of,
do it.
sort of, yeah.
You're in a room full of professionals. Anyways,
Go ahead, Dagan. I want to hear this story. You said you were gonna tell a story about
Yep.
the guys
Go
put
ahead
you.
and start it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So it reminds me of this one time I was at this event. It was just to set the mood there. It was an outdoor patio. It was right before the South by Southwest Tech Festival, so it was kind of sponsored by some tech company. And they were having a little shindig, and it was a Tuesday night. Now, this is an important reference here. The Tuesday night.
Okay.
Outside
Tuesday.
patio. All right. I go walking up to my friend. He's a distinguished older gentleman, let's say. He did have a cigar in one hand and a short glass with what looked like some bourbon in the other hand. And I was just going to say hello. He was talking to what looked like two lovely young ladies. And I just went to say hello and then continue walk off. And he turned and said, "Hey, this is my buddy Dagan. You should know this guy. He knows everything about women by just what they're drinking." And he just like blurted this out to them. And I said, "Yeah, hello." And I said, "My name is Dagan. I used to work in the alcohol industry. And now I'm in the tech world, which I was for a couple of years." And I basically just said, "Sorry, my friend introduced me like that," because that probably doesn't come off well. Because they did look at me kind of weird when he said that. And I said, "I work in the alcohol industry, and I see a lot of trends and can tell a lot of things about what people are drinking." That's what he's implying. And he's like,
Patterns.
and then I could tell that my friend apparently was not on his first drink. It was more like his second, maybe a third.
Mhm.
And he decided to now
Maybe a fifth.
I started getting there soon because he then said to them, or he said in front of them, he said, "Yeah, watch, he'll do you." And I'm like, okay, no. I'm not going to stereotype women to their face, especially that I don't even know.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "Oh, come on, do it." And the girl that was directly in front of me said, "Yeah, do it. I want to see it."
Oh no.
Yeah. If you're married, you know that tone that like she tells you to do something and you're like, do you
I
need me to do that
shouldn't."
now?
Yeah.
And she gives you that look. That's the look and the tone that I got from her.
You're already in trouble no matter what you're gonna
Yeah.
say.
And I said, "Okay, well, just so you know, this works better when I can see you guys ordering at the bar and engaging, not when I randomly come up to you. It's kind of too late.
Right.
This is so that I can see something before I come and engage with you. So it's already too late."
It's an art.
Yeah. But my friend was like, "God, just do it anyway, Dagan." I'm like, oh. I was like, so I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." So then I sit there and say, "All right, well, to the first girl, you're dressed for a Tuesday night. You look great, and it's for a good Tuesday night, and You can drink anything you want in this bar. You could have ordered anything. It's all paid for. Yet you're drinking a beer. And it's not just a regular beer, like a Budweiser, you know, something like that. It was like a Shiner Bock, but it wasn't just a Shiner Bock. It was a particular, like a Shiner Bock blonde or something. I can't even remember.
Prickly
it
pear.
It was a while back, yeah. And she was drinking it. And on top of that, when I was talking to her, I was like, you're drinking it out of a can. Because on the patios, they do a lot of canned beers so that you're not breaking glass. Now, you could have told the bartender to pour it in a cup for you or in a glass to keep it cold. Or you could have ordered some other beer. But you ordered a very specific beer. And you don't mind drinking out of a can at a tech event where we've got a lot of guys here that make a lot of money, but you don't care about impressing anyone in particular. You're just here to have a good time with your friend. So I'm going to assume that you work in the tech sector. You're not in upper top management here where you got to like entertain people and stuff. You probably have an engineering background and you have a really good quality beer. You would be like one of the guys. So if I was to approach you, I wouldn't approach you really hard. I would just be very much like treating you like you're the neighbor next door, or you're one of the guys basically. And at this time we're still okay, everything's fine, and I said I don't normally do this, but if I had to pick, and this was here in Austin, Texas, I said if I had to pick, I would say, because you're probably somewhat in the tech sector, and how you seem like you're acting and what you're drinking and all this, that you probably went to a school not in the major city like Austin or Dallas. You probably went to something like A&M, but if I had to put money on it, I'd say Texas Tech. And she like bit her lip like she wanted to just like hit me or something. She gave you that really nasty like I hate you, but also looked at me with complete shock. And her very bubbly friend jumps up and goes, "Oh my God, that's exactly where she went to school."
Wow.
And then said, "Do me, do me." And my friend goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You know what? He'll guess where you're from." And I'm like, "What? I'm not a circus clown. I'm not a magician." And I said, "How much have you had to drink, man? Like, you're killing me here. I just pulled this off, and you're gonna like
Let
make
me
it really
celebrate
hard
for
for
a
me."
second.
Do it again. Do it again.
So then he goes,
Magician never
hold on.
repeats the magic.
Yeah, he goes, hold on. He goes, "Whisper in my ear where you're from." And she says it, blah, blah, blah. And he said, "Okay, I'll give you 4 choices, Dagan. Hold on, let me think about this." Okay. She is from, what did he say? He said, Seattle, Denver, Austin, or Boston. He went across the country.
Yeah.
Those 4 cities. And I said, "Look, this is not what I do." But I'll tell you this. So she was dressed like she could go to anything. She could go to the nightclub, a date, anything. She was not like sexy, but her outfit was just like, she was stunning. While her friend was more chilled. Both look good, but you could just definitely tell. And I said, "Well, you're dressed like it's a night out on the town. You've got all these like bangles, you know, the bangles, which are those like multi-bracelets, circular bracelets that, you know, move and it makes a bunch of noise, irritates men sometimes."
Oh yeah.
I said, "You have these big hoop earrings. You're just like already, you've got all this energy, it seems like. You are out like it's Friday night, yet it's not. It's Tuesday. And you're with your friend who's not also rolling like you. So I'm going to say that you're visiting her. You're in town, and she's like taking you out. So I'm going to just rule out Austin if that's okay." She's like, "Okay, yeah. No, you can rule out Austin." I was like, "Okay." So next, the problem is I usually can tell by what you're drinking on how you order your drink, how you engage with the bartender, and what he pours you. That's a big part of what I do. I said, "You're drinking out of a martini glass on a Tuesday night, remember?" early. This is early, by the way. This is like at 8 o'clock in the evening. This is basically a late happy hour.
Yeah.
You're drinking out of a martini glass, and I didn't see what vodka the bartender poured. And she says, what makes you think it's vodka? And I said, oh, it's gin. I was like, well, see, if I saw him pour you a gin, that would have told me everything. Because I already not going to assume you're from Colorado. Because if I'm going to play the stereotypes of beer and liquor world, you're coming from Colorado, a good beer drinking city that loves Texas beers. Your friend's drinking a Texas beer, yet you're not. So you're not from Colorado. And you're all like ready to party. Like, this is not Colorado. You're definitely acting like you're East Coast or West Coast. But over the last few years, there's been a bunch of gin distilleries opening all up and down the West Coast. And all the women have been flocking there and drinking at the distilleries like us men go to beer distilleries and drink. Well, guess what? Because all the women are going there, all the guys want to go too. Because that's where all the women are hanging. So now there's all these gin distilleries that are as busy as bars and clubs multiple nights of the week. So much so that they're selling more gin up and down the West Coast than almost the entire country. So I'm going to go ahead and rule out Boston and say you're from Seattle. And she's like, and then, my buddy goes, sure. She goes, yeah. Or no, my buddy knew the answer, right? So he goes, Sherlock Holmes does it again. and they're like, oh my God. And the young lady right in front of me that I guessed earlier was really pissed because I literally stereotyped both of them without asking them any questions. And I said, the whole point of this exercise is, of course, not to like figure out how to sleep with the girl, because that reference was made at times, is to, if my friend wanted to approach the Seattle girl, I would have told him, hey, dude, she's out of town. She's out looking for a great time, but she's probably just trying to she's not trying to do anything in particular, but she's ready for some experiences and having a blast. So if you're going to go, you're going to have to take it up like, let's go do this, or hey, have you gone here? Or you need to go real up there because she's in here for an experience. The other one, you got to treat like the girl next door and not go hard and just talk like she's, talking sports or cigars or whatever. Two totally different approaches if you approach them in the club. And the fact I dissected both of y'all, even though I missed the entire first half, even shocks myself. They didn't talk to me the rest of the night because her friend was kind of pissed. But she was like, you could tell she had that look like, oh my God, am I that transparent? And I told her, I was like, by the way, anyone that's been bartending for years, all the bartenders do it, and so do the door guys. They look at you. If you're a female and you order an amaretto sour, come on. That means we should probably card you. You're probably really 19.
Right.
If you're 22 and you order a dirty martini with extra olives and stuff, and you're offering, you're ordering Belvedere, not Grey Goose, the most popular one, but a true quality, awesome vodka like Belvedere, you have some experience around alcohol.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I could tell a lot by a person just by what they're drinking. The guys were easy to dissect, so that wasn't anything special. But being able to dissect how a woman is, either not just always, but on that particular night, was big. Like the girl from Seattle, she might not be like that back in Seattle, but tonight, she had a certain feel.
I want to see what George has to ask, the questions, because that was
George was writing a book over there. Look at that.
Yeah, man, taking notes.
That's a good story. That's a pretty good story. I like that.
Well, and when people think about it, they can do it too, just like with wine. Most of us start on whites, Chardonnays. If not, we even start on smaller things like a blush. And then as a lot of times men and women get older, they start moving into reds.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're talking to a 24-year-old that's drinking red wine, that's a big jump. If you're talking to someone who's almost 50 and she's female and she's still drinking whites, she's a very light, casual wine drinker. She's not going to be really hardcore, generally speaking, because her palate hasn't gotten sophisticated enough that she wants to do reds or thoroughly enjoys reds.
Season also plays an important.
Sometimes season,
right?
of course, what you're eating, and it's this is very topical. I can go deeper into everything,
sure.
but that helped a lot, and so it was it ended up becoming a funny task that people would do. Is as I would keep doing it, they would start being like, "Hey, Dagan, I want to go talk to her. What should I do?"
I think the How I Met Your Mother director, I think he also based Barney on you, because with everything you said here, you could. I mean, he wrote the code. I think you could write your code too.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, they told me to write a book.
Yeah, I think like the way you describe that, the way how witty storyteller you are. I noticed like the patterns, the ups and downs, the visuals, like show don't tell. I would definitely write a book, another one maybe. Right?
Yeah,
another one, because you've got the material here. You started the material here. Like that would be what, 10 pages, at least 10 pages.
Yeah. I've got a lot on stories, and then I've got the stories from everybody else.
Well,
I'm married, so I'd have to watch out on all the stories I tell.
Well, and just write a fiction.
Yeah,
right.
I would say this story is from Dylan.
Yes, his name was Hagen, and he's from another state. He's a completely made-up person. It's all fiction.
But I have a question to that. So that was a success story. Have you ever been completely off and wrong about your assessment?
Nothing that came out and bit me hard.
Right.
There's some things that are a little, oh, yeah, I didn't catch that zing off, but I don't tell the person that I'm talking to, and I don't tell my friend to go up there, but a friend of mine's never come back and said, dude, you were way off.
Right.
Usually it's they want to talk to some girl, and I'm like, well, look, there's a whole group of them. You can't just go and hit the alpha female. There's usually an alpha female in the group. The one woman that really helps make where everyone's going, they all follow her.
Well, you shouldn't hit women in general, but
yeah.
I mean...
So hit up. There you go.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go and talk to that one, guess what? All the other girls in the group know that you're doing. They all know you're hitting on her because you're going after the alpha.
Right.
And they're like, oh, yeah, here's another guy coming over to flirt. And so everyone knows it. And then anyone else in the bar that's paying attention probably knows it. And the bartenders know it. So your whole game is so see-through. So I would tell them how to better, I was like, oh, if you want to approach her, how to get in the group and approach them. And usually it's not approach the alpha. It's approach one of the other ones.
Right.
And maybe the quietest one and talk with her. But of course, don't get too attached. Because then all of them will go, awesome. They're like clicking. And then you'll be, all of a sudden, you're stuck to the one, and that's not the one you wanted necessarily.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also my friends, one other quick story is my friend, he was very like, bears on a rabbit, when he was talking to a girl. He had a previous job where he wore a badge. I'll just leave it at that. So he he had some good aggression, positive aggression. And we were talking to some girls because he's like, Dagan, help me. Let's go over there and talk to her. I was like, cool, we'll go talk. And we're talking to the girls for a few minutes. And I said, yeah, hey, we need to go say hello to some friends. So we'll catch you on a little bit. And I said, come on. I said, hey, we got to go say hello to, and I pull him away. And he's like, dude, we were doing well. What the hell did you do that for? And I was like, it's called I call it like a hit and run. You want to go and visit with them for a little bit and then walk away, because you don't want it to get it to the awkward time where you're like just sticking around too long and now they want you to go. You're the only guy. We're the only two guys, I guarantee, tonight that is going to walk away from them first. And that's what's going to make us memorable. We want to go talk to someone more important than them. And they're going to be like, wait, what? Wow, that was cool. Watch, we're going to wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then we'll casually walk back, and then we'll go say hello again. Or say, hey, y'all are still here. And then we did it. And I said, hey, by the way, we're about to bounce to a club down the street. There's multiple bars in this area. So I said, we're about to bounce down to this bar. What bar are y'all going to next? and they're like, oh, we're going to go by this bar. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Well, we might catch you there or walk by. I just lied about what bar I was going to.
Yeah. You're just getting the information where they're going.
Yes, where they're going. Then we go to the bar next to that bar, and then we're hanging out. And then when we see them going over there, or we go after a while, if he really still wants to talk to the girl. And this happened. We went back to that. We went to that bar, and we're like, hey, y'all are here. I'm like, cool. And because, of course, I had an expense card with the alcohol company, I was like, yeah, buy them a round of drinks on us. And, oh, by the way, earlier when we talked to them and I was walking away, I waved the bartender down. I said, hey, my drink, get them some great shots with my product. And so he got them some shots, and we walked away while they took the shots. And so then at this next bar, we're like, da-da-da-da. And they're like, cool, yeah, where are y'all going next? I was like, oh, we're going to go to this bar and probably get some more drinks. Like, cool, well, we'll come with y'all. And then they came with us to the next bar. And I was telling my friend, see, hit, walk away, go up, walk away, go up, walk away. If you just go with like a bear on a rabbit, everyone sees your game. Even the DJ sees your game.
Dude, no, dude.
Yes. He's like, a guy in the blue shirt, come over to the DJ. You just won a prize.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, man, it's a good storytelling, right? So.
But a lot of that is what helped me with the book. So when you're visiting with people and you're trying to figure out who are potential clients and who you need to talk to and how to sell, it's helpful if you're approaching people and just planting seeds, not selling. And even if like home service contractors are great clients for me in my insurance business for the different types of insurance I sell. And so if I'm talking to a flooring company, I'm going to be like, hey guys, yeah, just so y'all know, this is what I do. If y'all know anyone in the industry in contracting, let me know if they need, let's say, accident policy. You know, like those typical like Aflac policies for if you get into an accident, you know, the commercials with the duck. I say if home service contractors love those accident policies because they pay out really good. They're really inexpensive. It's a write-off. And you don't have to deal with the doctors to get paid. You just tell the insurance company you had an accident, show them proof, and they pay you. And a lot of home service contractors, they have risky jobs, right? And so they come to me. So if I'm talking to like you guys and I'm saying, hey guys, by the way, if I could use some help with some referrals, if y'all have anyone that that you know, I'm pretty sure you guys know other home service contractors, and their jobs are risky. They're maybe on their feet all day. They wear boots and jeans, and they have a truck. Maybe they have ladders. They carry heavy things. They're plastering things on walls and floors and ceilings. If you know any of these guys that would love to get a bunch of cash if they got injured so that they can keep their business running, let me know. Pretty much electricians, plumbers, anyone that does home service contracting. And then I just leave it alone. I just already planted the seed that this could be for you. I don't need to tell you, hey, do you want this? I just need to say all of the things that involve your occupation. And if you think you need it or see value, you'll tell me right then and there. And I do get that a lot. I'll be talking to someone and they're like, well, wait, man, that kind of sounds like that would be perfect for me. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, your occupation loves my stuff too, but I'm not trying to just walk up to you and sell you. But yeah, if you want something, we can set up a date on and going over some of the stuff that you might be interested in. But again, and then I'll put a block. Again, I'm here for other contractors because while I would like for an individual to become a client, I'm trying to get a whole group of people. So if you can introduce me to a whole company of roofers or something, that would be great. So it's all about planting those seeds and knowing not to push hard. And in growing up, every job, if you think back to every job you've ever had, your boss was usually teaching you how to sell something. Never teaching you how to promote or market. That's a whole different mindset. But when I was working in the alcohol industry for 10 years, that's all we were taught. We were taught not to sell. We were taught to promote and market. You'll sell 10 times more if you do that.
Right.
I actually can share a little bit of my experience as well on that, because when I started on the tire business, because also as Dagan here, that he from the alcohol, tech, insurance, you know what I mean, all of that. So like you move on, to through different, you move through different phase of your life that you have different jobs, right? So basically, I started when I was 17 years old in the tire business, and what I did, I had
fire
tires.
Oh, tire.
Or cars. Yeah.
So like fire. Whoa.
Wow. Tell me more. Yeah.
So basically,
never mind. He said tire. Let's move on. So
we put your house on fire. I'll give you some insurance.
Arsenic. Yeah.
So what we tell people, hey, come to calibrate your tires. So that's what we tell them. But how I learned, how to sell was based on, like, I was reading a lot of books. You know those old books that have like a full shelf and then have like the letter P? And then that would be like the book that has everything with the letter P in it. Yeah. And then I would, P for, in Portuguese is pneu, which is tire. Yeah. But it's the same as I would get the letter T and it would be tires in there, and then I'll learn about tires. So I'd read about tires, so I'd have knowledge on tires. Yeah. And then, so instead of like trying to sell the tires, I would just like explain a lot of my knowledge that I got from reading in magazines and everything else. And this way, I just like put to customers, hey, these are what we can do, and for you to actually have your tires lasting much longer is by like calibrating the tires. So they will always come back every single Friday to pump air in their tires. So therefore, when the tires running really low, and then they would go like, hey, and then my tires kind of running low, can I see some tires in there? So to replace 2 of them. So, and then it would sell. But that's based on what you just said. Yeah. That's how I learned. And then that's exactly what we do now in the flooring industry. So when we got our customers and we explain everything, and then they go like, I can't buy with anybody else because these guys know so much. So I have to buy over here. So, right. And then, that actually is the truth about it. It's based on knowledge and what you can provide to a person. As first, I'm giving it to you. But they go like, yeah, I actually, can buy from you as well. So, yeah, that's true. I like that.
And that's the ending of the branding class 1. Right? So you definitely define what branding is, like how you want to approach what do you want your corollary customers,
right?
Want to know who you are and what you sell. That's what you did.
Well, and this is a perfect example. Y'all are having a podcast, but are you just doing a podcast? You got to pick a theme, and you're finding your theme. What is your differentiator? And y'all are using, cigars, alcohol, all that good stuff. And so that's what's setting you apart. The funny thing, though, is while you all are doing that here, when you're out and about and talking to people, you then turn it all off and you go right into sales mode anytime you're talking or doing things. And that's what changes it all, is how to keep repeating what you're doing for something like this, but do that all day long.
Yeah. Do you have any questions, George?
I always have questions.
Don't fire them up.
Yeah. It's regarding more on the liquor business.
Yeah.
The other day, I showed them that India now is responsible for more than 50% of all the whiskey production in the world. I didn't know number 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8 were Indian. So, do you think we'll see more of this? Like more of this China, India, and all these other countries?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a huge population. I mean, you can't avoid it. The dilemma is, do they have the great qualities to be able to do their products? Like right now, y'all have, products from Kentucky the reason it's from Kentucky and not just done anywhere is because brands like Woodford are using the same water that is going through all that limestone bedrock, that grass, that Kentucky grass, all that stuff, the horses, the same reason for thoroughbreds.
Yep.
Why can't you have thoroughbreds in any other state? Why can't we do them here in Texas? Because we don't have the right environment to be able to do that here like they do in Kentucky and parts of Tennessee. And so that's where that product does very well. So you can create certain things, like vodka is a lot easier. But, you know, we'd always learn fun facts. Like, do you know why Russian, like if you drink Russian vodka, Russian true people that from Eastern Europe or from Russia are going to be, vodka has to be made with potatoes. Mm-hmm. That's true vodka. Mm-hmm. Why does Russia use potatoes for their vodka? Why does that taste so good for them?
No idea.
Because that's all they had. Because that's all they had.
That's all they can grow.
Yeah.
Nothing else grows in the Russian winters except potatoes. It's a very cheap crop, and it grows like crazy. So then when something like Syrah comes out from, or Grey Goose, from other parts of Europe, and they're using grapes. Why are they using grapes? That's because it's from the same region where all the winemakers are.
Yeah.
Some products.
And then you come over here, and now we make vodkas, and we're making them all from wheat. Why? Because we grow a hell of a lot of wheat and corn. So it really helps if you have the right products on hand and whatnot. Vodka doesn't have to be from potatoes. They're just the ones that perfected it back then. But you can make it from anything.
And the same happened with cachaça, Brazilian vodka, right?
Or Brazilian rum. Some people call it Brazilian rum. The cachaça, Brazilian cachaça.
Because of the sugar cane.
Yeah.
Same thing. So
right.
Sugar cane.
And agave for tequila. It's really hard to grow agave elsewhere. They've kind of, hold the market for agave, but technically you can do agave in other parts of the U.S., and you can't really call it tequila, but you can call it something else. And it's basically would be a very similar product as tequila. But the environment works really well for tequila in Mexico. They're very close to the equator, and everything that works well down there.
And the same thing happened to coffee. There are certain areas you can grow. So Africa, definitely the best terroir is in there. You go to South America. You see, I would compare the Indian whiskey with Brazilian coffee. We don't make the best coffee. We make the most coffee, It depends on the type of coffee you're making it, so I kind of like a little bit of coffee. So, so we tend to only buy coffee from Ethiopia or from Kenya.
Yeah.
Those are the regions, Well, the same thing happened with, I think, every single product from the nature.
Right.
You try to make it special. You try to make what you have special. Think about diamonds. How many companies, I think it's a monopoly or something, that you make it worth it, but then just because it's 10,000 years old, 10,000 years old, right? So, but actually there are metals that are 4 billion years old, so that should be worth it, what?
Yeah.
40,000 times more than gold, than diamond.
And here's the thing about it's not a matter of how much things cost, it's the value. Mm-hmm. So if I were to use in my insurance business, it's about showing value of my products, not about the price per se. Mm-hmm. And this goes back to like alcohol. When Grey Goose came out, some rappers sung about it, and all of a sudden it started moving like wildfire. Well, Grey Goose had only been around a little bit, but companies like Kettle One and Belvedere had been around 200 years. And yet everyone's going into the bars now and ordering Grey Goose because it's now popular. It's the thing to drink. And they're spending more or buying, they're paying extra for Grey Goose at a bar as if they were buying Kettle or Belvedere, which is not even the same quality. You know how much it costs to fill up a bottle of Grey Goose? How much it costs the company? I'm not telling any big secrets. Hopefully Grey Goose isn't listening.
Probably pennies on the dollar, basically.
Yeah, that's a word.
Less than that, because a bottle of Grey Goose is a lot. It's like 7 cents. The bottle costs more.
Jesus Christ.
And so you're going.
Coca-Cola's the same way with a lot of their stuff too.
And so when someone would go to the bar, now on top of that, imagine a young lady or male, but again, a young lady goes to the bar, and she's like, "I'd like to order a Grey Goose with cranberry." You just spent extra money on Grey Goose, and then you doused it with cranberry. Why didn't you just buy Sky or Stoli or Monopolova? You would have saved half your money and have the same thing. And they're like, "Oh, I don't really have a hangover as much." I was like, "Yeah, that's in your head. That's not true."
Yeah, subjective. It's subjective.
Yeah, you're gonna have a hangover one lady that did that. I said, "Hey, yeah, I'll get you a drink." She was a friend of mine. She's like, "Yeah, well, if you're buying Dagan, give me a Grey Goose." And she said like cranberry. And I said, "Okay, cool." I said, "Does it have to be Grey Goose?" She goes, "Yeah, that's what I like." And I was like, "Because it's popular, because that's what you like?" She goes, "Yeah, that's all I can drink." I said, "Oh, okay. Have you had a couple drinks already?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." I go to the bar, and Finlandia from Finland, fantastic product, at least $2 cheaper than the Grey Goose at the time. And I said, "Hey, I'll take Finlandia and cranberry." They poured it to me. I gave it to her. She drank it. She's like, "This is great. I love it. It's awesome." She's like, "This is why I like Grey Goose." Never told her it's Finlandia until toward the end. I said, "By the way, I got you Finlandia. It was not Grey Goose. It's all in your head." And she was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Great. There's no need to spend this extra money on a product that you're just going to douse with cranberry." And she's like, "Well, yeah, but Grey Goose is more filtered." I was like, "Then get Kettle or Belvedere. Like, what don't try to educate the alcohol rep."
Yeah.
And so you see so much of it, but again, I'm not going to fault her for that she doesn't know, but I'm going to understand that she's getting something that's trendy, and her flavor profile likes the cranberry, because vodka by itself doesn't really taste that great. So I get that she likes cranberry, and I'm going to move forward with that. Well, I do that the same in my insurance business. There's so many people, and there's people that you guys deal with, or types of people. You're like, "Oh my God, this person is blah, 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 or this way, or they need all these extra questions." Well, that's their personality. Is they're a person that's going to ask 50 questions. And then there's some people that are very alpha, and they're going to be like, I just want top level. When can y'all do my floor? What's the price? What's my options? Give me like 2 or 3 options. And they're going to make a decision quick. They're a different mindset than the person who needs time and needs to look over all the numbers. I love both of those people, because I'm going to talk to them that fits their personality, not mine. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, I'm going to get the sale much easier, because I'm conforming to them. It's not about me, it's about them. And that's what you learn in the alcohol industry. I will be I'll start the night at a biker bar, then go to a country bar, a gentleman's bar, a gay bar, a nightclub. Sometimes in one night, I'd be at 3 or 4 different places. I'd even have different changes of clothes, because I want to conform to whatever the environment is. And a lot of those people that I just mentioned don't like each other.
Right.
But guess what they all do? They all drink alcohol, and they all seem to like Jack. So I'm going to conform to all of them and be nice to all of them. And they're all going to help my sales, which all helps bonuses.
Yeah, it's. I can relate to that, because we have like homeowners that want to renovate their houses, so they go with the floor like, "Oh, it has to be the perfect color," and then they go through 10, 12, 20 samples, and they get hang up on like, "Oh, I don't know if this one," and then it's like, if they install the last 3 that they select, it doesn't matter. It's gonna look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And with B2B customers like builders, they are more really going like, "Hey, it has to be this budget. It has to be a light color or a dark color for whatever that they're putting in their house to sell the house." And it has to be with, it's more like service. Like, "Hey, can you start on this day and finish on that day? Can you put, one more person on your crew to be able to finish in like a 3-day job in 2 days or 2, right? And adding, 2 more people to finish it faster."
Yeah.
So to a B2B relationship is geared towards the service that we provide. So to keep them with the schedule and doing it fast. With the homeowner, it's more like the perfect color. So the approach is completely different. Yes.
Yeah. My neighbor redid his floors within a year of moving because he knew he was going to be moving. And what do you think the first thing the new person, when they moved in, did?
Put in new floors.
They put in their own new floors.
Yeah.
So a different guy came, but basically, had I been that flooring guy and found out that they were going to be selling, I would have come back in a month or two to see when that house sold and say, hey, by the way, we did these floors or helped with these floors. If you want us to change anything or redo anything, let me know. We'll give you a discount because we already have done this work. And I would do that everywhere. Just every single time someone's selling a home. And if I had a marketing person or someone on my team that is trying to find sales, would say, yeah, go look at every house that just sold and look at the move-in dates, or go drive by there and see if they just moved in, and give them your flyer and say, hey, we've done a lot of houses in the area. We know y'all just moved in. We'd love to do any changes or any things y'all need. And then they're going to call you first. There's all kinds of tactics you can do by. Now, some people would say, well, that's energy or that takes time. And I always tell them, cool, well,
could be as simple
I like
as
money.
sending.
Yeah.
So if you like money, I don't care of any of the excuses you're giving me right now.
Or it could be as simple as sending a letter on the mail. Yeah.
If you did what?
It could be as simple as sending a letter on the mail and say, like, with an envelope, say, like, I did your floors. And then, and put it on.
Now, of course, talking to them in person is always going to be better. That's the problem.
Yeah.
This day, they're also going to get, when someone moves in, there's insurance people that's all they do. They buy leads for everyone that just bought a house or refinanced a house, and they send them stuff in the mail and reach out, whatnot.
Some use more aggressive tactics, like the insurance company. This guy, I said no. He put his foot on my door when it was closing. You believe that?
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, dude, do it one more time.
Do you know?
You know the reference?
They teach that. They teach that.
Yeah, and he brought like a big guy. He's like, dude, do it one more time. Do you know the reference? It's like Hancock. I think he's like the Will Smith.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Call me crazy one more time. Yeah. You are crazy. And then Charlize Theron throw a truck on him.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but yes, I remember it now that you brought it up.
So so the guy, he brought a guy to intimidate me, dude. Wrong house. Wrong house to do that.
But you know what? And all marketing skills or sales, because when we first moved into our new home, I had 2 people approach my house. Some short, nondescript male, but he had a very attractive female with him. Try to sell security. And my wife wasn't home. It was just me and the kids. And he's like, oh, I noticed that you guys just moved in. Have you thought about putting security cameras? I'll sell you, we'll install it, do this installment plans. Oh, this is my assistant. She's just kind of taking notes and kind of helping me in here. And it's like, come on, man. I know why the hell she's here. I mean, she's wearing a low-cut dress. It's summertime. We're all, basically half naked on the front, on the front porch anyways. But I was, but it's all a sales technique. Mm-hmm. It's all a sales technique.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The door-to-door, of course, they're not utilizing a lot of my tactics because it's more of an aggressive and direct contact. Now, they can use some of the tactics when you open the door. But yeah, that's a whole different type of mindset.
I think it's right in front of the door. We bought like 5, no soliciting everywhere.
Yeah.
And then this guy dared to knock on my door. We say, if you're not selling mints or, like if you're not a scout, Girl Scout. Yeah. So if you're not that, I'm not interested. Still, they knock on the door. I just say no. Boom. in
See,
a closet.
I like talking to them because I try to hire them for
Yeah.
me. But I have a no soliciting sign about halfway up my driveway, and one guy did come up and went ahead and knocked, and he did an oldie but a goodie. He said, he said to my wife, he said, "Oh, I thought it said no smoking," and I came to the door and I was like, "Yeah, well." Oh yeah, no, we do need that service done. I forgot what it was. I go, yeah, but I like using people that are very meticulous and that love following directions. He's like, yeah, that's what our guys do. I go, yeah, but there was a no soliciting sign and you ignored it. So you're not good at following directions. But thank you though. And he was like, damn it.
Dagan, thank you very much for all of the fun stories and the information on this. Unfortunately, we got to wrap up this podcast.
Man, I'm ready for another hour.
Well, come back to the podcast. We'll dedicate another hour to you. So thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the Puff Drink Talk podcast. Tune in next week for another great episode with more conversations, more cigars, and more drinking. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.